Hello, my first graders. Okay, this is our writing lesson for the week. So, today we're going to talk about making comparisons in our writing. So, today I want to remind you that you already know about writing to convince others. You can think about ways that your subject of your review is better or worse than others. You can compare the subject with others about thinking of one way they are better, and then write about it and include the information within your review. So you're adding it to what you already written. So it's helping you convince and persuade people even more to do what you want them to do in your review. So we are going to look at how to write a comparison and how to include it within your writing today. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I'm convincing my writers and convincing my readers, how to convince my readers that Curly's is better than other ice cream places. And I compared one thing about it. So I compared the taste of the ice cream and how it is better than other stores. So this is what I wrote about Curly's. So the ice cream at Curly's is better than other ice cream shops because Curly's ice cream is homemade. So one reason I said that the ice cream would taste better and that it's better than other ice cream places of their ice cream is that it's homemade. So it's homemade and it's a little bit better than if you bought it at a store or other ice cream places. And then I said, this makes the ice cream fresh and it tastes better too. And then I added in a little bit of to convince them even more by saying, just ask anyone that eats the ice cream. So I gave 2 to 3 reasons of why their ice cream tastes better than other ice cream shops. So I said that it's homemade and that it's fresh and that overall is going to taste better because it's homemade. And then I added a little bit more and went a little bit further by saying, just ask anyone that eats their ice cream. So I'm adding a little bit more to convince people that Curly's ice cream is the best. Okay, so right now I want you to pause and think about your review. So I want you to take out your review right now and reread it. So I want you to go reread it and think about one way you can convince people that your review, the subject that you're talking about, so you could be talking about a movie, a restaurant, maybe you're talking about an ice cream place, or you could be talking about your favorite toy, a favorite YouTuber, and think about one way or one thing they do really well. And add a couple reasons of why it is better than other places. So you have to try to convince and compare it to other things so you can convince your reader to go there even more. So I want you to pause right here and think about and reread your review and think about one way you could compare it to other places or other things. Okay, so pause and take about 2 or 3 minutes to reread and think about that, and then come back to talk to us. Okay, so I hope you reread your review and you have a good idea about how you can compare it to others. Before you go off and write on your own today, I'm going to show you a chart that we went over back when we were comparing our collections to one another. So, some polite and thoughtful ways to disagree with another person. So one way you can say is some people think this and they say this. Or you can say it as this makes sense because but I still think this. I can understand why you think this, but I disagree. I think this because, or even more, or I think this because. So, in my opinion, is the best because, or I think others, but I still think this is the best. So, these are some starters that you can start your sentence off as to help you get a better idea of how to compare or disagree with someone in a thoughtful way. So, you have both this chart and Miss Mickens' writing to help you figure out what you need to do in order to convince your reader. Okay, my readers, as you go off and write today and tomorrow about comparing your reviews, I want you to think about a couple things. So, some of you may need to revise because you might not have enough space to add your comparisons in. So, make sure you're doing that. And remember, writers, whenever you are writing to convince people to agree with your opinion, persuade them to follow your recommendations that you make in your reviews. It helps just not to claim that your subject is good or bad, but it also is better to claim that they are better than or worse than the other things you're comparing them to. So, to do that, think of the traits you can compare with, like we did with our collections. So, how you compared it to other collections. I want you to think about one thing, one trait about your subject and compare it to the other ones. So, you're thinking of one thing. So, Miss Mickens did the taste of the ice cream at Curly's and just looked at the ice cream itself. I didn't look at how many people go there. I didn't look at the toppings. I only looked at one thing, and I looked at the ice cream that I was comparing. So I want you to do that as well. Just look at one thing about your subject and then think about how you are going to compare it to other ones. So, you are off. If you have any questions about writing today, make sure you're messaging me and I'll see you in our Zoom meetings this week. All right, good luck writing. Make sure we're making some great comparisons. All right, goodbye, my first graders.